super excited to be sharing this real world application in the edtech space today. So let's just dive into it. All right. Okay, so today we're going to build a quiz generation application using LLMs for educational content. This is a very small diagram of what it's going to do. So there are going to be two personas, two AI personas who are going to actually interact with each other. And let me just walk you through how that will be done. So there will be one AI teacher who will read the content, who will know the audience, and who will generate questions based on the content. So essentially the content could be something like a worksheet in a student's daily science book, for example. She knows the audience, who it is for. So let's say 5th grade students. And then she generates questions based on those. Once the question set is generated, it is passed on to another persona, another AI persona, essentially an AI evaluator, who does not know what the content is, but knows the audience. So this AI evaluator is going to evaluate the question set against the audience's comprehension capabilities, and she's going to give an impartial view on if the questions are appropriate for children or students of that age. So she's going to evaluate those questions and then going to give her remarks. All right, so before we dive into the demo, it's very important that I just give you a disclaimer. This is something that I put together in about 4 to 5 hours after some experimentation. So this is not at all something that you should take into production. And we're going to talk about how you can take something like this into production and make more nuanced solutions. But yeah, let's just discuss that later. So this is a very rudimentary version just to demonstrate the power of LLMs in real world scenarios. All right, so let's just go to the demo. All right, here is a simple application where a very simple UI where you can upload a file, select the number of MCQs, select the grade for the students, and select the tone of the quiz. So essentially you can just upload a file here and then it'll just create a quiz based off of that. If you don't know how to build a UI like this, so I'm using Streamlit for this. A simple Google search will tell you what Streamlit is. Essentially, you can build very simple UIs and applications like this without the hassle of going through HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. You just need Python to build something like this. All right, so we're going to select a file right now. So essentially, this is a 5th grade comprehension worksheet for children where there is a story about two children, Alex and Amanda, who are trying to negotiate attending a concert with their parents. And yeah, I'll just attach this in the details as well, in the description as well, if you want to go through it. And yeah, basically we're just going to give this PDF to the program and it is going to generate, let's say, 8 MCQs, and for the 5th grade in a curious tone. So let's just click on create quiz. So yeah, let's just see the questions. What was the rule of Alex and Amanda's parents about going to a concert? You must be in 5th grade, you must be in 6th grade, you must be in 7th grade, you must be in 8th grade. So this is something like it's generating very thoughtful questions for somebody who's in 5th grade to make sure that they comprehended and remembered the questions. It is also giving us the correct answer for that question set as well. What did Alex and Amanda have to do? What did Alex and Amanda have to do to be allowed to go to the concert? Get an A on their next math test, get an A on their science test, get an A on their next book report, get an A on their next history test. So yeah, it's generating questions here. I mean, these are not very nuanced questions. Like you can improve on them using more complex prompts, and the prompts can even change based on what subject matter you're doing, and that is how we can make it even better. But yeah, basically you generate a 5-question MCQ, and this is the review from our AI evaluator. The quiz is appropriate for 5th grade students, and this question is straightforward and easy to understand. So this is what the AI evaluator is saying. So you can literally generate an infinite number of questions from something like this. So now that we've seen what the demo is capable of doing, let's just go into this application and then let's just dive into the code to see what we've actually done and how you can probably make sense of what all is happening. The applications part is really interesting because like all of us who've studied earlier, like you could essentially like everybody always gets the same question, like always the same quiz, right? But adaptive question generation, I think, really gets to a whole new level with something like this. You can have different quizzes for special needs children, or you can have curated questions for people, for students who are lagging at a specific part. So let's say if you're talking about mathematical questions, if there is a student who's lagging in trigonometry but not in, let's say, areas and volumes, then you can give this child more questions related to trigonometry, and the other child more questions related to areas and volumes, so that everybody can probably get to the same level. So I'm really excited about the possibilities of these adaptive and curated tests for students. And I think this can be something that can be that we're probably going to see a lot in the next couple of years on probably every huge edtech platform. And the third one is really interesting because my father was in the military, and we used to change cities every couple of years or 3 years. And then every time we'd change our school, we'd go to a new school, and then the syllabus over there, or the class over there, was at a different pace or at a different stage in the curriculum than we were. So I think you can use something like this to create an evaluation of a student first, get their lagging parts, and then in the subsequent quizzes you can start getting them up to speed and at par with the rest of the class. So yeah, you can build something like this. All right, so let's dive into the code and see where we're at. So you'll be able to access this code on GitHub. I'll just add the link in the description. So a bunch of imports from Python, load.env. This basically is loading this .env file for the OpenAI API key. And then after that, we're using the chat OpenAI LLM for communicating with OpenAI. This is from the LangChain library. And let me just open the diagram with this as well, because then it'll make more sense. Yeah. All right, let's just see it like this, right? Okay, so this is the template for the prompt. For the first prompt, where we tell it you're an expert MCQ maker, given the above text, it is your job to create quiz of X multiple choice questions for grade Y students in Z tone, right? Make sure the questions are not repeated, and check all the questions to be conforming to the text as well. And then in the end, you repeat this instruction to the LLM, and then you tell it to give the answer to you in a JSON format. And you give it this template. So, and that's what we're going to create later. After that, you use the prompt template, you give it these input variables. We're going to use this template, and we're going to have this template take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inputs, so that it can be templated as a string, and then we're going to pass it to an LLM chain, which can then do this query. And after that, we're going to use an LLM chain from LangChain. It takes 4 parameters. The first one is the LLM, the large language model, which is GPT 3.5 Turbo. The quiz generation prompt, which is essentially this, and the output key quiz. We'll get to why we're using this in a bit. And then after that, we just need it to be verbose so that we can see its output in the terminal as it is running. So this template is taking care of the left part of this diagram, where this AI teacher is reading it reads the content. The content is in the text variable. It knows the audience. It knows the audience from this part of the grade, and then it generates the questions like so, like number MCQs. And then once you have everything in place, you run it through an LLM chain. This is the LLM, and this is the LLM chain for the quiz chain. So once you have all of the inputs, you then put it into an LLM chain, and then we're going to create a sequential chain, and I'm going to get into why we're doing that. So this part specifically is the code which is taking care of the left part of this whole diagram. And after this, we're going to create the next like the AI evaluator. And for the AI evaluator, this is the part that is going to take care of it, like the quiz evaluation and the review chain. So essentially, for this, the prompt is a little different. You're an expert English grammarian and writer given a multiple choice quiz for grade students. You need to evaluate the complexity and the questions and give them a complete analysis of the quiz if the students will be able to understand the questions and answer them. So it is just giving that AI persona some more personality and telling it what is expected out of it. And this is the second prompt, and it is going to become a quiz evaluation prompt with two parameters, because the AI evaluator only needs to know about the grade and the quiz generated to give its feedback. And then it is going to have a review chain like the LLM, the prompt, the review, and it has to be verbose true as well, so because we need to see the output. And now we're going to use what is called a sequential chain. A sequential chain is something that runs, as its name suggests, one after the other. So the quiz chain is going to run first. So the AI teacher's part is going to run first. It's going to generate this question set, and the output that comes from the AI teacher is going to feed into the next chain, which is the review chain, and the AI evaluator is going to then carry on. So it is a sequential chain where one happens after the other. So the syntax for this is pretty simple. It is a sequential chain where you give the quiz chain first and then the review chain after. The input variables are going to be text, which is actually the content of the PDF, the number of questions that you need, the grade that the questions are being generated for, the tone, and the response JSON. And the output variables are going to be quiz and review, because from the first part of the chain we're going to get the quiz, and from the second part we're going to get the review. And after that, there's a bunch of code related to Streamlit, which we have imported up in these import statements. If you want to dig into Streamlit, you can easily Google it. You'll be able to find a lot of resources. So we're creating a form, which is taking the upload file, MCQ count. Let me just open the demo on the right as well. So this is the form where you create this upload file, MCQ count, grade, tone, and button, like this form. And after that, if all of these are true, then you parse the file. Well, there are a couple of ways to parse a PDF. There's a LangChain way of doing it, and there's a non-LangChain way of doing it. I've done the simple non-LangChain way, where I just, because I know that it's going to be a PDF, I'm just extracting the text from it. You can see it in the utils folder. Another way to do it is using LangChain's loaders, which I think are amazing for something like this. They're super simple to use, but behind the scene they're using a Python-based PDF loader. And that is actually what we're using as well. I think we're using the PyPDF2 PDF loader. But the LangChain loaders come in handy when you have to parse larger files and then divide them into chunks and whatnot. So I've just used the simple approach here. And after that, we're using this callback, which is going to also print out the cost for every call for us. You probably don't need to do that. So we're just and that's why we do it. So this is the generate evaluate chain, which was our sequential chain up here, and we're giving it these parameters like the content of the PDF, number of MCQs, the grade, the tone, and the JSON response format, right? And this generate evaluate chain is going to do all of this that we have on the right, and it is going to give us the final answer. So this is the response, and in the response, once we get the quiz, and after that, once we get the response, we're just going to print the quiz and print the response as well. So that is basically what is happening throughout this chain. It's a sequential chain. Let me know if I did not explain it well enough, or if you wanted me to go a little faster or slower. Happy to entertain any feedback. So let's just try to run it again using this code, and we just pick a file here. I click on the file here. I say 5 MCQs, grade 5 in a funny tone, and let's just create it. So on the left, you'll see that because we are done verbose is equal to true, so it is just prompting, it is just printing all of the prompts over here. So it is giving, this is the first page, this is second, this is the third, and after that it is generating these prompts and then giving it the response JSON format as well. And as soon as we get the response from the OpenAI APIs, it is going to then trigger the next step in the chain. Right now, I'm not having good luck with the OpenAI APIs, so I think we're just going to stop it here. So it is just going to carry on its own, and then it'll just complete the chain. All right, so this was basically the code, and I hope it makes sense. And let's just talk about the next steps now. So next steps from here would be, for something like this would be really amazing. Like you can, like once you have something which can generate questions on some content, and you have somebody who can evaluate those questions, so then you can plug multiple pieces into it where you could give it a database of students, like let's say you could just give it 100 students and give them and just give them the scores that they have achieved across, let's say, the last 3 tests, one on trigonometry, one on, let's say, shapes and volumes, and one on, I don't know, English comprehension. And based on the results of that, based on the results of their previous 3 quizzes, you can literally ask the LLM to find out which students are lagging in which parts, and then create very customized uh, quizzes for them so that they can just sharpen their skills moving forward. So using LLMs, you can literally scale the job of these AI teachers or tutors and create literally infinite number of quizzes and curate it to every single student. And then you can browse the internet for some information. You can even go to Wikipedia and whatnot and merge that information and ask more wholesome and more comprehensive questions. So yeah, if you want to take this forward from here, happy to discuss that. Let me know in the comments how you feel about something like this, and let me know how you feel about this series as well. I'm really open to feedback. For the resources, it's pretty simple. You can go to GitHub for this series. All of the code is available there. For YouTube, of course, it is going to be uploaded on YouTube. You can just go to my channel, subscribe there, and I'll be just continuing that series over there. Hope you had fun going through this, and in the next episode we're going to do an e-commerce, we're going to build something in the e-commerce field. We're going to build a bot which is going to answer users questions on product returns, and it's going to be interesting because we're going to involve a SQL agent in that. So that agent is essentially going to query the database on the customer support executive's behalf, and then get information from the product returns table, and then communicate it with the user. All right, that is all for today, and I hope to see you in the next episode.